Hello, so I'm here with Trevor. How do you spell or pronounce your surname? Is it Lorkings?
Lorkings, it is, yeah.
Lorkings. Okay,
Lorkings,
because I was
yeah.
looking at it going, am I going to like bumble over it?
Yeah.
So your business is the Digital Alchemist,
It is, yeah.
and you've got a notebooks business as well. So that's
Yeah, it keeps me
cool.
busy.
So we kind of met via LinkedIn because we got
Mm.
into a sort of LinkedIn conversation about the joys of small businesses creating their own logos in Word, of all things. And then it was in conversation, there's sort of other things that small businesses might design in using, themselves.
Yeah,
Canva being one of them, and
yeah.
Canva is something that I'm advocating as a
Mm.
tool. It has its downsides that I'm fully aware of, and one of the things you talked about was the pitfalls of sending stuff to print. When someone's doing it themselves, their lack of understanding. So I was like, oh, that's so true. It's something that's a
Right.
really important for me when I'm sending any artwork to print. But the general layman or laywoman wouldn't necessarily know about all these things that I learned on the job.
Yeah.
So I did a little video talking about that, but it was it was like, oh, I've met someone online who has a similar pedant about like print as I have. So I thought it'd be useful just to sort of have a little chat and just sort of see what you're about and get to know each other better and see if anyone else is interested in what we've got to say. A conversation between two designers.
Well, I've been kind of, when I left school, I started in commercial stationers. And I had no idea what I wanted to do. I did careers advice, which was a waste of time. And I stumbled into this job in a commercial stationers, and I've never looked back since. So I've always been involved in print and design in some shape or form. And I ended up having a 20-year career in purchasing, but throughout that, I was always involved in design or buying print or specifying print, dealing with big printers and some pretty major print runs, not 500 business cards, sort of big projects and marketing teams and big corporate businesses. So I've always been in touch with that, and I always had an interest myself in sort of design. And you clearly don't look old enough to remember the Letraset rub down lettering.
I do. It was when I was at uni. We had it. Yeah. It was good fun.
So that's kind of the days that I started.
I had marker pens and everything.
Yeah.
Underlay.
Yeah, and then the commercial stations, they had a duplicating office with that smelly ink, horrible ink stuff that schools use. And then they got one of these real fancy photocopiers, and the world changed when you could photocopy things at the press of a button. So that's kind of where it started.
At what point were the dinosaurs roaming about?
Yeah,
they left then.
Yeah, and then turn of the century, I went self-employed, which is a huge long story. Don't need to go into, and started design because the websites, internet sort of started in 1999-ish. It sort of started to pick up. So I started a website. I think
that's when I had my own email address. Was 99. Yeah. I've still got it as well. Hotmail.
Yeah, that's it. Hotmail. Emails. So technology came in. We all had desktop computers because in the old days we didn't have desktop computers. Wasn't a thing. We had a black and white telly plugged into your old computer. So that really sort of brought the modern digital age of design, and then I started doing some print as well. And that's kind of evolved to today where I've got a print business, I've got a notebook manufacturing business, the graphic design, the web design, the whole kind of digital alchemy all in one big umbrella, if you like.
Yeah.
And for me, I've seen a change in graphic design, as you probably have as well, that there are a lot of tools now which have made it really easy for people who don't know what they're doing to think they can create designs. And that's created the problem that they don't understand the technical details, but they want to have a go and create something. They want to design their own business card. They want to design a leaflet. I mean, I got an inquiry today. Someone sent me a poster. It's a leaflet / poster they want printed. They sent it to me in Word. It's all in black. It's all in one font, and it looks hideous. But they want it for tomorrow.
Yep.
So, yeah, I can print it. It looks terrible, but the customer's always right. But my design thing is, give me a couple of hours and I'll make it look fantastic. But one, they don't want to pay for it because they've done all the work themselves and they've spent hours doing it.
And they don't understand how you could improve this magic that they've created.
It's a bigger picture. I think I don't think they value their time because they have this obsession. They want to do it themselves, whether it's Word or Canva or whatever they're using, because they have a computer, they can put pictures on a screen and move things around. They think they want to do it themselves and they think that's what they want to do. And I've had somebody that would spend months, literally months, creating a book.
Right.
And they then send the artwork through. So, can you print this book? Yeah, I'll print a book. They send it through, and there are numerous technical issues, like no bleed we've talked about,
Yeah.
and lots of other things. The design is like, oh, dear me, that's kind of not brilliant, but you can't, how do you tell a customer their artwork's terrible? Because the customers are kind of always right, aren't they? And I said to myself, well, I could have done the artwork in probably, I don't know, within a week.
Yeah.
And she said, well, I spent about 4 months doing that. So you have to
because
question.
it's not their specialism.
No,
I think that's
no,
the
that's
thing.
it.
As a small business, and I've operated independently as a business owner, and I've now joined forces with White Star. So I'm both employed and self-employed. I sort of have the two hats. Technically I've got three hats, but hey ho, that's another story. But yeah, so it's understanding that, you know, you try and sort of minimize costs that you're spending out. So you think, I'll do it myself. And, you know, we all do it in different aspects of our business. But with something like design in particular, you know, you need someone who's got that experienced creative eye. And, you know, I can knock something together in Canva or in my, you know, in Adobe Creative Suite, you know, in the proper software, as I like to call it. But, you know, and I could do something that's, you know, in half a day or however long, or really quick, that would take someone else ages. And someone was sharing, sort of a friend in one of these, in a coaching group, was saying, oh, I spent so long doing, you know, I think she made a sort of Facebook header, and she was like, this is what I've done. And I think she was both proud of it, but also realized that though it wasn't quite there, it wasn't maybe quite good enough, you know, but it was, you know, she had achieved something. And I was like, you know what, well done, because I knew how much effort she put into it. Yes, there was stuff that I could see could be improved, but I also pointed out to her that actually I'm the expert as a designer, or I am a expert in it, because you know, we've got two here. But you know, and if you think about it, got me thinking about that saying about it takes, is it sort of an average of 10,000 hours to become an expert in something? And I googled it and everything. And there's different examples. So if you're going to be a surgeon, then there's more hours. So then I was like, well, how many hours have I been designing roughly? Because I can't come up with a exact figure, and this was probably about 6 months ago, and I think I worked out I'd clocked sort of 27,000 hours or more. So, you know, when you put it in that, you know, context, you know, of course I'm going to know a little bit more design than someone who's just gone, oh, I've opened up a Canva account. But the difference is when someone thinks that they can do it better or as good as what you can do, and then they don't value what you're doing.
No. I think it has been a case, and it's not just graphic design. You see it. I mean, I've seen it in like web design. When WordPress first took hold, WordPress made people think they're suddenly a web designer. And they're not. WordPress won't allow you automatically to be a web designer, and Canva doesn't make you a good designer. And it doesn't matter which tool you use, it's how you use the tools and having the eye for that detail. And I'd rather someone said to me, look, I've had a quick play in Canva, I've got a feel for what I'd like, but can you do it properly? At least I haven't started with a blank sheet of paper. But they don't. They send me artwork that's even the wrong size. They'll send me random size. It's going to print it on A5. Well, you haven't designed it A5. Well, can't you just sort of move it around a bit? Well, then you want me to design it for you? And I think they because they've never got anywhere near a printing press. They've never had to lay things out. They've had to guillotine things. They've never had to produce booklets and things like that. And I've done a booklet recently, which, if you know about booklets, multiple of 4 pages. If you take a piece of paper and fold it in half, it's a multiple of 4 pages. Somebody sent me a 7-page booklet, and I said, I can't print a 7-page booklet. I said, well, I'll go and find someone else who can. I said, well,
good luck with that.
Good luck. Every piece of paper has 2 sides. You know, you need to relay it out. But they hadn't thought about that when they started designing it. They'd started at page 1, done it at page 2. And they hadn't thought, hang on a sec, this is an 8-page booklet. What's the flow? What's it going to look like? What are the pages, what key pages when I open the middle? How's the spread going to look? No idea. They literally started on page 1 and kept going. They dumped all the information and got to page 7 and said, there we go, print it. And that's the problem. They're not appreciative of the bigger picture of it all. and they can't see that a designer would make that brochure look fabulous instead of it'll do it and it's okay. And that's the frustrating bit for me, that I see a lot of people, they waste a lot of time and a lot of money doing mediocre jobs.
Yeah.
There seems to be this fear, I don't know what it is, and I've never quite worked out why they won't do it, to commit. So I'll employ a property designer to do it properly. Whether they're afraid that I'm going to charge them millions of pounds, they can't afford me. But ask me the question. You know,
I guess also it's them not working out how much time, the reality of them doing it themselves and the result that they're going to get out of it. And you know, like the example you gave of the lady sort of doing the book and typesetting it all herself and agonizing over it, and you know, not having the skill set to get it past a sort of certain level. And as you said, you could have done it in a week and would have had far better results. And if she totted up what she might, if she's got some sort of hourly rate for what she might be an expert in, and then worked it out, suddenly it becomes all more affordable.
I think the problem is we all do it. We don't actually value our own time, because we don't get an invoice for our own time. We don't invoice ourselves to say, I've spent so many hours on that.
Well, you're not paying yourself or charging yourself money, are you, for your time? But it's but yeah, I guess it depends on kind of also the life cycle of that business owner as well. I think someone who is maybe just starting out, or isn't sort of thinking bigger, you know, they're still kind of in that startup mode, even if they've been going for a while. They don't quite understand that. But definitely, you know, it's that thing, isn't it? You know, that you could plaster your own walls. And you could watch a YouTube video of how to plaster walls, or buy a book on how to plaster your own walls. But until you have plastered however many walls it takes to, you know, as part of a plastering apprenticeship, you're only going to
27,000 hours worth of plastering.
Maybe exactly, at least 10,000 hours worth of plastering. Are you going to get a decent result that's going to match anywhere near someone if you'd employed a plasterer? And it's I guess it's also, it's a little bit like with the advent of all these great digital cameras, and obviously now it's more like on mobile phones. You know, the cameras up there are great. You know, like I don't even bother using my little digital camera, and I've got a DSLR as well. I'm like, actually, this does quite a good job. But it's also down to you know, even a fantastic photographer using just using their camera phone is going to have a far better result than someone who's got no eye for photography using the best camera in the world. They're not going to get that shot. So it's that sort of equivalent, really.
It is. And I think what you're doing with sort of teaching people Canva to get them more aware of what can be done to make something look better than, oh, that will do, and I've spent 10 hours trying to design a business card, helping people realize that they can do it better. I find is the way forward. But I just find I probably get a bit defeated with so many deaf ears out there that some people don't want to listen because they think they know best.
I guess the thing is just sort of it's just accepting that there will always be people like that. But it sounds like maybe sort of where, you know, with your business set up, you know, if you are printing stuff for people, you're going to kind of constantly be in contact with that. Whereas the clients that I tend to work with, they maybe, you know, certainly with sort of people who've gotten to know me through Canva, they've sort of seen what you can do. They've had a little play and maybe have realised that on certain projects that they just want to hand it over, and that they understand that they've gotten to know me and can value my time and expertise. But yes,
I think it's
I'm not quite having that so much. I have had briefings with stuff done in PowerPoint, and them pretty much wanting me to recreate what they've done in PowerPoint, and you get to a point where you're like, okay then, well, I could make it better, but they've been so clear on what they want that it's worth it.
Precisely. I think the biggest problem is print. I think when you're using Canva for sort of social media graphics, there's not a massive cost to getting it wrong, because you're not printing 5,000 brochures that actually haven't come out wrong. You put a graphic on Twitter, what someone said, I think the life of a tweet is 18 seconds or whatever it is, you know.
I've heard that,
it's come and gone, it works, as long as it looks about right, that'll do. There's not, oh dearie me, it didn't fit properly. Whereas I've seen someone who didn't understand bleed, and I spent a long time explaining bleed to them. And I'm actually quite glad I don't do print work for them now, because they just didn't want to listen.
Yeah.
And I saw a job they did, which was a brochure that was very black covering. The background was all black. And they had it printed, and a lot of it. And there's these little fine white stripes randomly on some of the pages where they hadn't put the bleed out.
Yeah.
Because they didn't understand bleed. So they got these white stripes down the edge of bits of pages, and it looks horrible. So print costs you money to get it wrong. Social media isn't quite so bad, am I right?
And I would say
it's embarrassing, but it isn't a cost of bad. And I think that's the problem that I certainly see, that Canva really struggles to do print artwork correctly. It's a bit of a fudge to get it around it, and it doesn't bleed properly, and it's a struggle. So it's great for social, and it's extended into, I could design some business cards, and people don't stop and think, but can I? Will it work? And they send it off to a print house somewhere, some anonymous print house somewhere in the world, and their cards
now Canva have gotten in on the print action. It's got integrated. I haven't used it myself. As a designer, I've got access to sort of print with trade rates, so which is good quality, and I've built up a relationship with them, so I'm happy with their service. And I've got some that are local as well, but it's when people say to me, oh, I put this together in Vistaprint, and I've used Vistaprint, and you're like, yeah, it shows.
Precisely.
Then I think also it's about understanding that where they are at, like I said, in their business life cycle. If you're getting started, I guess it's far better that they have something that's mediocre done, using the template on Vistaprint and then just getting it done, than having no business card. It means
but I've had this conversation with startups or people that haven't got appetite for budgets, things, and they have this delusion that Vistaprint is cheap. And when I actually sit down and say, well, what did it cost you to get that many business cards on Vistaprint? Ignoring your time, let's assume time is free. What's it cost you in terms of actually the print, paying Vistaprint to do it? And I can design it and print it cheaper than that to start with. And you'll get a really good job. You get fantastic, you'll get me, and you get the product, and it's cheaper. So why would you go to Vistaprint? And they go, oh, I didn't realise that was.
I used Vistaprint.
They're just brainwashed by Vistaprint.
And at that time, it was very much like Ryanair. It says, oh, cheap print, and then you get through it, and then it's like you've got to pay to, have this taken off and this removed, and that, and then once you got all of these sort of what you actually want, it's not as cheap as it initially. So
but when you can actually go over that barrier, when you can get over the barrier and explain to them, if you come to me, I can design it and print it cheaper and probably quicker than going to Vistaprint. But it's just this, everybody's, oh, Vistaprint's great, they're really cheap. Vistaprint aren't cheap. You can get cheap business cards, free offer deal, discounted, and 10 quid postage for 250 business cards. So you're paying 10 quid postage for free business cards, so actually you're paying 10 quid for 250 business cards. But it's only the basic standard horrible templates who else has got. So I think it's just, for me, it's opening people's eyes up to realize that there's people like me and you that can do this work and get them good results, and it's not going to be ridiculously expensive compared to going to Vistaprint or going to wherever else you now go to.
And it's also like, is your business worth it as well? It's understanding that if you're creating business cards, brochures, stuff like that, it's an extension of your brand. You're applying, hopefully you've got a logo and you're applying it to that, and that is someone's first impression of you. If someone's passing on your business card to someone else, recommending you, or wanting to look through your like what do you do, and you've got a flyer or a brochure, you need to have it at a certain level. So it's not a false economy to invest in good quality design, but it's educating people a little bit at a time. So who's your ideal client? Who do you love working with? Because it sounds like you've worked with some sort of really big names in the past.
Well, I was working for big names because I had a proper 9-to-5 job in the days when I had a job.
I had one of them as
well. But since then, I've worked generally small businesses. I have worked for some. I did do some work in London at some big companies, but I just get too bogged down with the dinosaurs of big companies and departments and budget.
It's committees, isn't it, as well?
It's a long time. So I'm happier working with solopreneurs, if you like that term, small businesses?
I do, yeah. It's nice
Yeah.
because you, with people like that who run their own business, often they're really passionate about what they do. They're enthusiastic. They're the decision maker. So there's a lot of pros with working with small businesses.
And it works with them if you get to know them, and you sort of can support their business. And then if they buy into the concept, which is what I try and do, you can then work with them and you can suggest ideas. You know, for example, the person who's come to me for this poster leaflet thing, they're not the best customer in the world. They're a bit of a pain, and trying to get money out of them is difficult. But I work with them because they're local, and it's kind of like they've asked for this A4 leaflet, and what they really need is an A5 double-sided postcard. It would be cheaper and a more effective document for what they're trying to produce. But no, they want an A4 poster. And I'm like, well, yes, I can print that. You want those? And they want them for tomorrow, and they've only sent me the artwork this morning. Yes, I can do that. I work by myself. I can work 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock tonight if I need to.
Yeah.
And I will do that. But they're not that receptive to me saying, well, actually, wouldn't you like a postcard that's double-sided? That'll be a nicer document. It's more effective for what you're trying to communicate, and it'll be cheaper.
Yeah.
No, their committee has decided that's what they want. That's what the boss says he wants. So that's what, and so they're sort of people like, well, yeah, I'll do the work and it's a bit of money, great. But it's not the people I really like to work with.
Yeah.
I can get those longer term relationships and build things in that I could say to them, well, have you thought about doing a postcard? Have you thought about doing a folded leaflet?
Well, it's more of a collaboration because you're giving them your expert advice on it. So you can explain to them how they might get better results and potentially for a smaller budget.
Precisely. And it's getting that portfolio together and getting to know what they need for their business and what might work and might not work. You know, they don't understand perhaps all the print technologies. You know, I mean, I do a lot of duplexing cards. I do a lot of the double thick cards.
Okay.
And you can foil as well. So my business card, it sounds odd, but my back of my business card is Digital Alchemist printed black on black with black foil.
Okay, yeah.
Well, black foil on black card looks really cool.
Yeah.
But when you say to somebody, I'll print black on black, they think, what? You're mad? I said, well, have a look at my card. I've done black on black with black foil. They go, wow, that looks amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Canva, there's nothing in Canva saying, have you thought about designing black foil cards on black card? And
I mean, there are, I'm fully aware that Canva's got lots of limitations. For me, it was just a tool. I think it's a very accessible tool. Like anything, it's got pros and cons. And, you know, like a hammer, it's the person wielding it. You can make a lot of mess with it, or you can, you know, build something new.
It fits the bill for what it's designed for. It's when people try and use it for things it's not designed for, is when they get into problems.
I mean, I have seen there's some improvements to it. There's some interesting features there. I have heard some people talk about there are some alternatives to Canva, so need to sort of look at that just so you can see what else is there. But you know, it's at the end of the day, it's just a tool, and if it means that people get a better result, then you know it's you know it's better, really. You know, I'd rather someone used a really good Canva template and got a better result than trying to design something from scratch using Word.
Definitely. It's better than Word. There we go.
Yay, Canva. You're better than Word. That should be their strap line.
Everything's better than Word, isn't it? Anyway. No, it's a point. And I think, like I said before, you know, people that use it, or any tool to use it to come up with some concepts or some ideas, it's a great start. And, you know, my wife does loads of graphics because we're both self-employed in various businesses. And she'll do quite a lot of graphics, and I've trained her quite well, I think. But she says, I'll do it how I want it. Then you can just finish it off before you go to print and just check things are quite right for print and maybe just improve bits. And she'll say, oh, I'm not too sure on that bit there. Can you? And I'll take what she's done and just tweak a few bits to make it look fabulous, because she knows that's my skill. That's what I do. She's got the idea of what she wants it to look like, but can't quite get it quite right.
Yeah.
And that works really well. You know, rather than me saying, well, I'll start from scratch from a blank sheet of paper, I just can finish off what she's kind of started.
It off, aren't you?
Yeah, you know, and it's just those tweaks. But that's the skill I have. She has other skills in other areas, and it's just fitting the right job to the right person, isn't it? So
So you said in our LinkedIn message, you said that you don't use a Mac or subscribe Adobe products, and then I did a bit of internet stalking and looked at the website. And there's a picture of you in front of the of a Mac, and you know, sort of like an action shot.
In front of a Mac, not a Mac. No.
Yeah. So what do you? Sorry?
There's me in front of a Mac. Where's that? Not on my website.
Yeah.
Not a Mac. No.
Well, it was a computer anyway.
A computer, yeah. I sit in front of a computer. But it's not,
okay, it was a computer.
Yeah, it's not a Mac. No, I come out in a rash when I get in Apple products.
Oh, okay. So what do you use then if you don't use Adobe and?
Well, I have got Photoshop, but it's like Photoshop version 7.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is like 1980. I don't know, whatever. Yeah. So I have Photoshop.
The squirrels are a bit slow on that.
Yeah, but it does what I need it to do. Photoshop 7 does what I need it to do.
Okay. Yeah, so you've got your money's worth out of it anyway.
I've got my money's worth out of it. Yeah, I bought it. When's version 7? About 19, whatever it was. I don't know. And it works. It still runs on Windows 10, thankfully. So that does that for what it needs to do. And then I started doing, what was it? 1990. Page Plus came out.
Okay.
When computers were like steam driven and whatever. Yeah. And I've used it ever since, and I probably use it every day of the week.
Okay.
And
I've never heard of Page Plus.
No, precisely, nobody has. It's Windows only.
Right. Okay.
Well, years ago I used to use it, and I used to have a guy a printer I used to deal with that reckoned that what I produced was better than what he could produce in his Mac back in the 90s. So okay. It's I wouldn't say it's as powerful as Adobe Suite, but it's not far off for a lot of what you need to do.
Yeah.
So it's very powerful, and I think when you could buy it, because they stopped supporting it, I think last year.
Right.
So you can still use it. They just haven't got any new releases.
Yeah.
I think it costs $50.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I reckon in 30 years, I probably bought various versions over the years. I probably spent in 30 years £200 to buy the software.
So it was very cost effective.
Very cost effective, and that's why generally I find nowadays the concept of buying software is gone. You buy a monthly subscription to something.
Yeah, there is
works,
the web developers that I worked with last year. He uses something called Affinity.
Yeah.
Designer. Yeah. So I purchased that, and that was a one-off. So that was quite
one-off, sort of 50
yeah.
quid or something. Yeah. Well, that's what Page Plus went over to.
Oh, okay.
When they stopped making Page Plus, which is annoying because there's millions of people using it, and it's a brilliant product, but they've stopped supporting it. They moved over to Affinity because Affinity is Mac and PC.
Yeah.
And the criticism of Page Plus, you couldn't run it on a Mac. It was Windows only. Yeah. And I've looked at Affinity, and it's kind of all right, but
there are some things that I found a bit glitchy. I didn't like about it.
Yeah, I think it's still relatively new in its life cycle, and I think the problem is the Page Plus users love Page Plus, and they've sort of tried Affinity and gone, oh, that's not quite the same.
But I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's there are quite a few options out there, and they all work slightly differently. Another one you can have as free, or you can buy it, is Gravit. And that one has got some bits about it that I'm not keen on.
I saw another one the other day someone shared with me, which I cannot remember what it was called, but I can look it up. And that was $50 to buy, and it's a bit like Canva, but just $50. I think the thing is the whole technology world's gone down this software as a service route, and Adobe's done the same, hasn't it? Now Adobe, you pay monthly.
I pay an extortionate amount per month.
I don't pay anything a month for my graphic design tools. You see that? I just bought it years ago. So there's this kind of trick that the software industry's played on us all at every level of software. That now you pay a monthly fee to use the software, and your bank balance keeps drip disappearing. And if you don't use it, you're still paying that monthly fee. Oh, well, I don't use it very much, but it's only 10 quid a month, and it's another 10 quid a month, and a 10 quid and like I say, you stand back at the end of the month, you're thinking, why haven't I got any money left? Oh, I've spent all this money on software that I don't use.
And I think it's also you can get quite like shiny, that's sort of quite good over there.
Precisely. And I think to be honest, Canva, I think they're very clever. Not that I've only used it about twice. Very clever. Oh, that shape's quite nice. I'll buy that. And that's £1. I'll just have that image. That's another £1. I'll just have that. Oh, that's £1. That's £1.
Well, the thing is, what you have to be quite careful about with the images, if you have to purchase them, is that the prices vary as per usage, or certainly when I was looking into it. unless it's, I mean, things keep changing. But when I sort of looked at purchasing an image through Canva, must have been about a year ago, it was like, what are you using it for and where's it going? Much like the image licenses that you have on certain stock libraries. I mean, even sort of with photo libraries, you know, there's a lot of free stuff out there. And I think that's the thing, there is a lot of things that are accessible for people, and it's understanding, you know, what your requirements and what's the best fit, and familiarity. You know, for me, swapping between different tools isn't really an issue, because you know, you kind of know that functions like this, and you kind of get a bit more familiar. And if you've used one particular software for many years and you love it and you're familiar with it, if you start trying another one, it's never gonna like hold up to that. So I can understand the outrage from fellow what was it, one page, what's it called, Page Plus,
yeah. Well, I think that's why Affinity's kind of struggled a bit. Affinity in itself is a good product, but in comparison it's like, well, it's not as good. So it seems as though they've gone backwards in their product development rather than going forwards. But they're making waves, and I think give it a few more years, it may be the product to jump over to. Well,
it was suggested to me in a coaching group that I'm involved in. It was a couple of months ago. We were future forecasting, or there was some sort of term for it, but it was basically you draw a timeline and you work out, you know, what do you want to happen, you know, and when would it happen in a certain amount of years. And it was suggested to me that I could create my own design app or program, and I was like, ooh, but not right now. At the moment, I'm quite happy to be known as the Canva girl, I think, or Canva queen, I think some people have called me. But
well, I think there's still plenty of mileage in it, because there's a lot of people at that starting level. They kind of, okay, I don't use Word, what else shall I use? And it's the next great stepping stone. I think the danger is people then stick with it and don't go further, and they get trapped in it, and they don't realize, one, it can get expensive to use it, and two, it's limited on certain features. But they kind of get blinkered into, everybody uses Canva, therefore I use Canva, and stop looking, well, actually I could use that. I mean, I've been working on another project, because I do web programming as well, on mass content creation. So for example, if you had I know people hate quotes, don't they? But some people love quotes. But say you wanted to create some graphics for social media for quotes. Motivational quotes. And you say, well, okay, I've got 100 motivational quotes, and I want 100 graphics for LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So I want 400 graphics. Oh, on Instagram stories. So I want 500 graphics from my 100 quotes. I know you're quite good at Canva, but you probably would spend a few hours, days creating all those graphics. I've got software I've developed that you can take that list of quotes in, say, a spreadsheet or a list. You design the standard background image, branding, styling for Instagram, for Facebook, for Twitter, get the sizes right. Without the text, just say your logo and your colors and everything, the template. I run it through my software, and you'd probably get 500 graphics produced in about 3 minutes.
See, I know a way that I could do something similar in InDesign using I think it's called mail merge.
Variable data print mail merge, similar thing. The difference with that is, and Page Plus does variable data print, and I do that for other things. You can't automatically size the text to fit the box automatically.
You'd have to.
Well, I want that 12 point, or I want that 16 point. And the text overflows, doesn't fit, whereas mine will automatically size for what you need. So there's things like that I do. And another one that came up was I had a catalog, e-commerce catalog of a customer had 1,200 images. They wanted a watermark put on top to put their logo watermark on 1,200 images. And again, I programmed some code. They just took pictures, took the logo, watermark logo, and puts the two together. Now it puts 1,200 images.
Again, like I would know how to do that in Photoshop, but that would be an action. But
But if they're all different size images.
It's not a feature that I use that often. I don't really tend to do kind of mass stuff like that. I have done it.
But that's another thing I'd sort of do on the mass volume thing. But the creating the mass social graphics is quite a new kind of thing that I've got working in a rough code, if you like. But it's another thing, if people don't realize I can do that, or it's a thing, they kind of think, well, 500 graphics, I'll be there for days in Canva doing 500 graphics.
Yeah.
You know? So there's, I think it comes back down to Canva is a tool to do a certain job.
Yeah.
At a price. And I think people need to be aware of what the tool is, what it's good for. But there are boundaries which actually, if I want to do something else, what I should be doing is using whatever, or getting someone else to do it, rather than spending my whole life in front of camera trying to create these graphics, which isn't the right way to go.
Yeah.
So that's where I think it is, and that I think that's my frustration, that people do get very blinkered on it and very glued to it when it's actually not the right tool for what they're trying to achieve, but they don't know any better or any different to find another solution.
I guess it comes back to you don't know what you don't know, isn't it?
Precisely.
You know, when someone has come to you in the past and sort of said, I want a 4-page flyer and that's what I want, and you're trying to offer them an alternative, some people just will not listen. And I guess you have to kind of remember that actually you're not a surgeon doing open heart surgery, and you're not, is it worth losing sleep over? And
no, I used to years ago. Now I think whatever, if you want to use Canva and make design disasters, that's your choice.
Yeah.
But I just try and inspire people with what I do, and if you like what I do and think, oh, that's good, I'd like my graphics like that, or that's a good idea, then that's fine. I don't actually go out saying, well, that's terrible, you're useless.
Yeah, no, I don't. When people, if I meet people networking and stuff and sort of say what I do, and when it's not good if they're apologizing about their business card, but I also get it as well. Like, I can understand why that might be the case, but I wouldn't offer my opinion on something unless I felt really either comfortable with that person or they asked me for my opinion. I'm very careful not to be like doing a critique on their logo or this or that, because you don't know, they might have just purchased it, or they've done it themselves, or you just don't know. So
it's very difficult.
Tactful occasionally.
It is very difficult, and I've come unstuck on odd occasions at somebody, at a networking thing, somebody gave me their business card and I looked at it and I couldn't read their name.
Yeah.
I was sort of looking at it. He said, what's the matter? I said, well, who designed your cards? They're terrible, aren't they? He says, my brother designed them. He's a graphic designer. I said, well, the typeface is used is so thin, and you've got white on a dark colour, which isn't great because the way it prints white, you're not printing white, you're printing colour on a card that brings.
Yeah.
You can't read it.
And could he see that you can't read it?
Well, he could read it because he knew what it said. Because his business card, and it's like, I've had all my brand style guide done and everything. That's, Anyway, he actually gave me a job to do. He's wanted a couple of graphics, and he sent me his brand style guide through that his brother had done, and it's a very nicely put together guide.
Yeah.
And I created these graphics for him based on his typography and colours. And he came back and says, "Oh, I don't like that. Their font's not quite right, is it? Can't you choose a better font?"
That's the font.
It's your font. Your brother is a trained graphic designer. I never got work from him ever again, so thankfully, But it's back to they're a tricky customer because they don't want to understand, and just use your brother. If your brother's done all the work and you like him, just use your brother.
I guess that's the thing, isn't it? As well, is that a bugbear of mine is that people will often, or I've seen it quite a lot, where someone will go to that printer and get something cobbled together there, and then they'll go to that printer and do it, or they'll do something, use that design, and they use different people, and they end up getting this very mismatched. The colours are not consistent in the print.
The style is different. The style changes, doesn't it?
Yeah, someone goes, "Oh, well, I don't have that font. I'll use this font." I don't, they don't have a style guide, or, and it's sort of like, that kind of makes me feel a bit sad when I see that. So, in a way, sending him back to his brother is probably best, because at least it could be consistently crap.
Yeah, precisely. Well, I think there's two good points there. One is, if you seriously running about your business, want your graphics right, is get a brand style guide put together for your own benefit. I've got one for my brand, for me, just so I remember what colour I use.
I do as well.
So do that anyway, because lots of people think, I've got my logo, I'm done. We won't go into the subject of bad logos, good logos, and web logos. That's a whole new story, isn't it? But get a brand style guide done, and so your logo, how you use your logo, your colours for print and screen, your typefaces used, variations, layouts, etc., etc. Get that done. But then find someone, if you want lots of print work done, find someone you work with, because it stays consistent and the style stays.
Yeah. It's something that I do myself. I do a logo guideline when I do
something
logo.
I've worked with quite well.
Yeah.
That when he gets a new social media client, I can spot what client he's got because of the style of graphics he's used. And I said, oh, you've just got a new client, haven't you? How did you know that? I said, well, you've done the graphics for them. And it's a style they get into. You know, when you pick a picture, the styles of picture you pick.
Right.
You kind of get in a feel for the designs you'd come up with would be different to the designs I've come up with.
Yeah.
It's not like yours are bad, mine good, vice versa. They're just different styles.
Different, yeah. I mean, you can have a certain level of consistency.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
if I said to you, oh, I've got to do a leaflet for, I don't know, did you do a horse train or horse photography the other day or something? Did I see?
Yes, yeah. So it was a couple who have got a photography and predominantly video business. So they were doing some filming of someone on a horse. Yes.
But if I say, I want a leaflet for horse photography, and I do a leaflet for horse photography, we both come up with the same logo because that's what the client said. But the picture of the horse, the style of the horse, or the angle of the shot, we picked two different styles.
Yeah.
Probably, but they both work depending on what the client likes. So I think that's the thing, is once you stick with a designer stroke printer, stick with it if you're happy with it, and stick with, don't keep chopping and changing. Oh, that printer's I've just saved £5 on that.
Some people do go where the offers are, and it's far better to try and stick and be a bit more consistent.
You be consistent, because you'll find over the time when someone comes back to me and says, oh, I love that leaflet you did. Oh, I now need some posters, or I now need a banner. I think, great, I can do that. The artwork will be cheaper because I know your logo, I know your colours, I know the style.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of the kind of what fits and how it works doing the leaflet. Yeah. So I've learned by doing the leaflet how your brand is working on the leaflet. Yeah. So if I've just got to do a banner, I'm halfway there already.
Yeah.
I'm not starting with a blank sheet from a new brand. I've got to get used to what is it, how does it work, how does that typeface work in bold or italic or that kind of thing. I already know, and the more and more you do, the more comfortable it is. And I do a magazine back cover advert every month for a client, and now I can do it so quickly because I've done it for years.
Yeah.
I know what they like.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past, I'd create 3 or 4 versions of an advert going, oh, there's some ideas, which do you like? Oh, we like that one. Whereas now I just do one, because that's the one they like, because I know the colours they want, I know the typeface they like, I know, certain things, how they want it done, how they capitalise text, the little nuances that you don't get in the early days. Yeah. I know all those things. There's things like, when you say you want to put some text over a picture, you may put a transparent box if the picture's complicated and it doesn't show the text. I know they hate transparent boxes. Yeah. And any artwork I do with a transparent box, they don't like it. So now I don't bother. I just think I do. So
it cuts out.
That's an example. The more you do, the quicker it gets, the easier it gets. So their cost has come down, because I sort of base it on an hourly kind of rate. Because I'm not spending 4 hours doing an advert. I'm spending an hour doing an advert.
Yeah.
That's how it works. So and you get consistency. So in the long run, it works out hopefully cheaper, but you're getting, actually, for the less time, you're getting better value. That's the trick. Yeah. So don't just look at the headline price of how many leaflets can you get for 50 quid. Yeah. Can someone else do it for £48.50? It's false economy.
Yeah. I think it's also down to knowing your own value as well, and knowing your ideal client. As a designer, knowing who you do want to work with, and encouraging that. So if someone is wanting to do it themselves, then you try and help them best you can. But if they're not going to listen, then just love them and leave them, or
move on.
Move on. Yeah. Move on. So just to sort of wrap things up, what kind of is there any kind of top tip or anything sort of like thought for the day that you'd like to leave people? Where can people find you on social media?
Yeah. Well? My thought of the day is a general quote I've said a long time, is that you might know how to use a pair of scissors, but you wouldn't cut your own hair.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. There's definitely a meme in there.
There's a meme in there. Yeah, I've been using that one.
There might be a Canva template somewhere with a pair of scissors.
Yeah, there probably is. But this is what I mean. And you don't know what you don't know, and that's a tricky one, because you don't know it, and it doesn't sort of work, does it? So I would think, realise your limitations and value your time. And if you value your time truly, you won't spend months in front of Canva trying to design a business card. You'll come up, play with some ideas, great, but then there's a time comes where you think, actually, I actually be better off using a proper designer and a printer. And that's where I kind of fit, because I actually print it and I actually cut it and I'll actually produce it. Not pressing the buttons, some automated anonymous print house in whichever country you think it might be in. You know, I'm hands-on doing it all, and if I spot something that's not quite right, well, let's tweak that and, you know, get it right. And I have, you know, it's, to me, print jobs I do aren't just another load of leaflets going through the printing press like a lot of the big print houses that can be. And I do take that time, care and attention, and that's kind of what you can get. So where you can find me, the easiest thing is to find me on digitalalchemist.live website, and then you'll get all my contact details and all social profiles from there.
Okay, well, I will share the link in wherever I'm sharing this. All the places, all the amazing places that I'll share this. So thank you for your time. It's been a real pleasure having a chat. So hopefully whoever watches this finds this useful. Two designers whittering on. But, you know, there might be a few pennies worth of value there, so or a bit more. But well, thank you. I look forward to bantering away on LinkedIn and within my Lovely Canva Crew group.
That's it.
Feel free to offer any design advice or opinions, and I can trust that you'll say it in the nicest possible way. Between us and others in the group, we'll try and educate people on bleed and crop marks and
all that kind of thing,
the right size of things. And I think I'll do a little video about creating your own style guide. I think that will be useful. I have created it for some customers, both, you know, in the design software and in Canva. I've got one for myself in Canva just to remind me. It's just it's a useful tool, so that's a good reminder. So explaining what people, you know, to people what that is, and giving.
Well, maybe I've dropped mine in the group so people can actually see what my one looks like as an idea to see what's in it, what it means.
I mean, you know, that would be helpful. Go for it.
Do that. Good. Lovely to talk to you.
And you take care. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.